Yeah, there we go. Well, well, well. Did you miss me? Did you? If you didn't, it's all good. But the views say otherwise. You know what they say. The heart always grows fonder with some absence. Nah. Like life been happening, but good morning. Yeah, it's gonna be morning when you see this. Pelicans Daily presented by Fan Arch. I'm your host Dylan Bruton. Make sure to like, to share, to subscribe. Keep the support going because the numbers is going up. I'm watching. I'm watching y'all. If in case nobody told you, I'm watching you. I see you. So thank you. Because again, when you're chilling with them, you already know the drill. All right, man. Well, we got a very exciting day ahead of us. Yes, we have finally made it to preseason officially. I mean, like, yes, we played in Australia, but now we made it to NBA preseason where we're playing against another NBA team on American soil. Very exciting stuff. I've never been this excited for preseason in my life outside of the times that I've gone to preseason games in the past. But this is exciting. Big game tonight. Big game. This game, I think, is going to have as much impact and weight as a regular season game for us as we look to establish our identity, as we look to see what kind of team are we and what have we been building for and towards, And I think that's ultimately what people want to be able to walk away from watching us play, right? Who are we? Who is this team? And what kind of direction are they going to go? Because there's been a lot of talk, there's been a lot of speculation, there's been a lot of questions that people have been wanting to be answered, and rightfully so. And the Australia trip showed glimpses and pieces. You know what I'm saying? It showed an appetizer. Now it's time for the main course, the entree. And I'm very, very excited, right? So obviously, we play the Rockets. We play them in Birmingham at Legacy Arena. And this is a big game for a special guy on our team, Mr. Herbert Jones, who is an Alabama native, who played at Alabama. And, he this means everything to him. This is a homecoming game for him. And there's been continued expansion within the NBA and getting more games out in Alabama. Anybody who lives in Georgia, Georgia, Alabama, right next door to each other. So that's pretty common to have there. But it's a little different with New Orleans. It's a little different with Louisiana. A little different, and especially with New Orleans. But we did play in the preseason in 2022 and in 2023 in Birmingham. We played the Hawks and the Rockets. So again, this is not unfamiliar territory, but it's a big deal. It's a big deal, and obviously too, the G League team. Right, we have our G League team based out there, and it means a lot that there is that connection that can be pointed to. Now, the Alabama stuff is on a national level is not really the biggest storyline. The biggest storyline is about Kevin Durant. Right, Kevin Durant was traded to the Rockets this offseason, arguably the biggest move, arguably the move that had people going from, okay, this Rockets team is a up and coming rising team, but they're not quite there yet, to they might go to the finals. They might go all the way. And that's why this game holds so much impact, because it's not only a divisional game, but it's a battle and a test versus, to me, one of the best teams in potentially in the league if they put it all together. Now, last year, the Rockets were the number 2 seed. They had a really great year. Ime Udoka is a great coach, really great at bringing out, the aggressiveness on the defensive end and a meticulousness on the offensive end, which is a very hard balance to find. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes some coaches are just so aggressive that even their offensive play calling is that way. Or sometimes they're so defensively focused that they don't really hone in on the offense. But I think Coach Udoka is a great coach in general, but a great coach at balancing those two type of identities. And it's why the Rockets were a top 5 team defensively and the top 5 team offensively, right? Success has clues. There's a proven track record. Now, they were also a team that was without a closer, so they addressed that need by getting Kevin Durant. Yes, it came at the cost of, Jalen Green. Dylan Brooks, I think they're okay with parting with. But Jalen Green was drafted with the hope that he would become that, and he showed flashes. He's out in the city I'm at right now, in Phoenix. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he does in person. But he showed flashes, but he wasn't able to sustain it. It did not, but he was not consistent enough, right? And there needed to be more to his game. But they've got a great team with guys like Alperen Sengun. Unfortunately, Fred VanVleet is hurt. He'll be watching the game from afar, just like DeJounte. Only thing is that DeJounte is, he got hurt last season, so his rehab, and Fred got hurt recently. So it's you never want to see talented players go down. You always want to see, the battle between two teams when they're at their best. Guys like Jabari Smith Jr., who, did play, who is a Georgia native, but he played ball in Alabama at Auburn. And guys like Tari Eason, guys like I can't say Cam Whitmore because he's no longer there. Now, I was shocked with him. I thought that they were going to keep him around. I thought that they were going to potentially do something with him, but it didn't really go that route. But that team the team that the Rockets have, they're a team that just, again, from top to bottom. I'm interested to see what happens with Reed Sheppard. Reed Sheppard was drafted to be a kind of guy that would step into that point guard role, but he just wasn't ready for that yet. So overall, this Rockets team is a talented team, and you adding a player like Kevin Durant, that's a luxury, right? Most teams ain't doing that, but there they are, right? So where do we come into play, right? Well, we have a squad too. We have a team that I believe can hang with just about anybody, with just about anybody you can think of, if everybody is playing together at a high level, and health is not an issue, because that's going to be a key thing. Health has been our biggest Achilles heel. Whether it was with Zion, whether it was with DeJounte, whether it was with Trey, whether it was with Herb, we've had a lot of health issues. I had to pull up the roster because I'm like, they made some other moves this offseason. How to forget Amin Thompson? Yeah, Amin Thompson, I think, is one of the best young players in this league, just pound for pound. I think his ceiling is he's not even came close to reaching it. So I'm excited to see what he does. But they got veterans on the team now, like Steven Adams and Clint Capella in their front court. Then they got veterans on the wings like Dorian Finney-Smith, Jeff Green. They got veterans in their backcourt like Josh Okogie, like Aaron Holiday. You know what I'm saying? This is a very well-rounded team from top to bottom. And they've got a better sense of their identity figured out. So it's not going to be a walk in the park. It's not going to be an easy game. Now, ideally, I'm hoping that we start off playing fast, right? We don't have the size per se. But it's not about the size of the dog in the fight. It's about the heart of the dog. Because you got to be ready to, you got to have that bite. You can't just have bark. You can't just be, you got to be, you know what I'm saying? You got to be ready to fight it out. You got to be ready to scrap. And the type of culture that we're building here is one for the scrapping. It's not for the faint-hearted. And it's not always going to be pretty. But pretty does not always equal success. Pretty does not always equal victories. Pretty does not always equal championships. So we're gonna come at it from a junkyard dog type of mentality. But we do have enough finesse players, right? Obviously, we traded for Jordan Poole. His game is so much finesse, but he's learned how to play a lot more disciplined. I think the extended time of development as a one caliber player has done Trey Murphy such a great service for who he is as a player. Because he can be a number two. But if you really need him to be a closer out there, because he probably is going to have to be a closer, just given what the type of player that Zion is and his lack of shooting range, you trust that. He got us. Herb Jones kind of being the do-it-all glue guy. And he didn't play in that first preseason game. So it's going to be interesting to see what he does now NBA competition-wise, right? A guy like Sadiq Bey who shot the ball amazing in that second preseason game. How does he continue his hot shooting? Jeremiah Fears, our first round pick that we selected, a guy that off the name and the game and all, he's got all the talent and ability to become a star in this league if he puts it all together. And he's even got the nickname Zero Fears. I mean, come on, man. So, we got a roster full of a lot of questions, but you can't say there's not talent. You cannot sit and tell me that there is not talent on this roster. You cannot sit and tell me there's not players who don't offer intrigue, who don't offer just curiosity and wonder about what they can become. Now, I'm not going to go in depth with this Magic game because, we got to let this Rockets game happen first. But, yeah, I think if we take advantage of our youth, our speed, our athleticism, I think it's going to do wonders. I'm excited to see what a guy like Micah Peavy does out there, right? Micah Peavy or a guy like Christian Shoemate. Both guys who are older rookies per se. Peavy was a second-round pick. Shoemate, undrafted guy who has worked his way up. But they're both those junkyard dog type of players. They're both those type of guys that do the little things that aren't as glamorous, aren't as exciting, but they know it's for the best of the team. So I'm excited to see what they do as well. And then even our bigs. Kevon Looney, he's going to be doing the dirty work as well, but he's a vet. He's the most seasoned guy that we got on this roster. So how does his leadership show? Because obviously we want Zion. I mean, ultimately we really want to see what Zion is going to be doing. Let's keep it a buck. We really want to see Zion go at it with Sengun. We want to see Zion go at it with the front court duo of Adams and Capella. Just want to see Zion versus KD, even though two very different play styles, but we want to see the stars versus the stars, or the stars versus the toughest defense that they're going to be facing. And given Zion's a very paint-oriented player, plays a very downhill style of basketball, especially on the offensive end, that's going to be what people are going to be looking out for. My prediction, I think we can win this game. It's anybody's game. It's a little closer to us, so I think that helps. There's also a little more familiarity, and I also think that we have a little bit more to play for. Not saying that the Rockets don't, because obviously with people talking championship or bust with them, they're gonna have a different motivation. But we're having people say that there's not enough fans in the city. There's not enough fans in the city. Relocate. We're having people saying, "Oh, it's over. Throw in the towel. Season ain't even started yet." People are already talking like that. We're having people say, that people putting out an article every other day about trade this player, trade this player, trade this player, and yet, quote unquote, there's not a glimmer of light. There's no hope. Make that make sense, right? So I'm intrigued again. I'm intrigued to see what all unfolds, but I think we can win this game. Now, Does us winning this game mean we're going to be an NBA Finals team? No. No. No, 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 no. But what it will show is that we have the ability to adapt. We have the ability to execute, and we have the ability to create a functional, flowing game plan. We have the ability to create a functional and flowing team. And put all that together onto the court, everything else should take place naturally. That's the goal. That's the hope in mind, is that we see that. We see things going in synchrony. Things moving in a purposeful way of alignment in terms of how we play. Playing intentional basketball, not playing accidental basketball. That's a term that I remember Kobe, RIP to my GOAT, but I remember him bringing up in a convo. I don't know if it was with Tracy McGrady or somebody else, but he brought that up about a lot of basketball today is accidental, right? You weren't trying to, make that pass. You weren't trying to take that shot. You were forced to do that because the defense redirected you. You let them dictate your pace. And what I want to see is us dictate the pace. I want to see us in the driver's seat recognize that, hey, we're in a tough division. I'd argue the best division in basketball. The best. Because you got Houston, you got Dallas, you got San Antonio. Them three teams could all go to the playoffs. Irregardless of the fact that with Dallas and San Antonio, right, that was picks 1 and 2. But when you look at their rosters, right, the bulk of talent that they got is insane. And then the caliber of rookies that they got, Cooper Flagg and Dylan Harper. I mean, they were both dogs, studs. But you know who also was a stud? Jeremiah Fears. Now, he's not going to get as much PT as those guys, and he's not far off in tier-wise, but just a little bit lower. But I think as well, seeing with what he got, seeing what he can do out there, especially given that, it's I don't know if Jose's going to play. I don't think Jose's playing, but DeJounte is not there. DeJounte is his primary comp as a point guard. Jordan Poole is going to kind of be both a 1 and 2, given he's not the greatest of defenders. He's probably going to lean a little bit more 1, so that would be comp for Jeremiah Fears, and they do have similarities in their play styles and their mentality. But Jordan Poole's a little bit more of an off-ball player. But Jeremiah Fears was drafted with the hope and goal that he was going to be a on-ball player. So I know I'm just kind of blabbering and yapping, but I think these are all things that we want to see out there. And our last 10 contests versus the Rockets, and this is regular season. I put preseason a little different, but they've had our number. They've won the last 4 games, which isn't saying a ton because again they're in our division, so we play them frequently, but it's not good. We're 4-1 in our last 5 contests. They're 4-1. It's not good. That's not good at all. And if we're going in total, 4-2, 5-2, 6-2. 6-3, 7-3. 7-3 in the last 10 contests versus us. That's unacceptable. That's unacceptable. We need to close that gap. So yeah, it's gonna be a big game. I'm very excited. I'm gonna be glued to my TV. That'll be if I can get to a TV. I have been part of why I've been MIA is just this. Man, the amount of stuff that's on my plate right now. My plate is overabundant and full. I'm a skinny guy, so it's good for me to have that much. But, woo, it's a lot. But I'm very excited for tomorrow. And if you are, if you ain't got nothing to do, watch the game. And if you are down south, close to Birmingham, pull up. Why not? I don't think the tickets should be that expensive. I don't know. What do I know? I just talk. You know what I'm saying? But I think it'd be a valuable experience. It'd be a great opportunity to go to. All right. As mentioned, we do also have a big preseason game versus the Magic as our next game before we actually officially kick off the regular season. Now that game is going to be in Orlando. Now I'm not going to go as in depth on this one until next episode, just because I feel like it saved the topic, and also just because of timing of things. But that's a game that is not going to be a walk in the park for us either. The Magic now. We have in our last 10 contests with the Magic, we are we're 2-8. They're 8-2, and we're 2-8. Like that's unacceptable, man. That's unacceptable. Unacceptable. Now the Magic last year addressed one of their greatest needs, shooting, with the addition of Desmond Bane. And they're a team that already, they've got some young talent. Obviously, as a Duke fan, I love Paolo Banchero's game. Just rooting for him as a whole. I think he's a stud. I think he can be a face of the league type of player. Even though, yes, he's in a smaller market, but talent supersedes all. Franz Wagner is one of the best number 2 options in the league. That, again, it's a similar thing to Trey Murphy, of like he can be a closer if you need him to be. Now the difference with Powell and Zion is that Powell has the range to space the floor, and as a result it allows for a little bit more that can be done offensively on a one-on-one level. I think as a playmaker, I think Zion is better personally, right? But that's not to undersell Paolo, because Paolo can. It's just that's not the main attraction to his game. That's not the main thing you focus on. But they've, I think the addition of Desmond Bane was a great one. I think the return of Jalen Suggs is going to be big for them. He being a lead distributor, another shot creator, and a shooter, and a great defender for them. I'm intrigued to see what a guy like Anthony Black can do, because I know, him and Suggs have kind of been pit against each other unintentionally, but Anthony Black, to me, I think has a lot of talent as a distributor, and he's got the size. Then you got guys that were drafted there before, like Tristan Da Silva, Jet Howard, who can space the floor, who can provide depth off the bench. Moritz Wagner, Franz's brother, is a very underrated big man. So, you got a good front court with him and Wendell Carter. They both can space the floor from the mid-range. And I like Jace Richardson's game a lot. He was a guy that I talked about on this channel. He was a rookie that I think is a very polished player. It helps, you can tell he's a son of a pro. So there's a different type of headiness that he plays with. There's a bit more of an experience aspect that he plays with. But I think it's going to serve him wonders in the league. Obviously, it's not easy for rookie guards to come in. There's a steeper learning curve than I would say even as a big. But yeah, this is a team that's talented. And they even, I'm just looking at the roster now, they either got our guy Lester Quinones, or a little revenge game for him. So, hey, and they signed Tyus Jones. Shout out to Tyus Jones. Like, Tyus Jones is a very solid, good veteran point guard. So this is a team that, they were a playoff team last year. They had a top 5 defense. They didn't have the greatest of offenses last year, but they were able to make some good moves and to add on to what they've already been building. So it's not going to be a cakewalk. We got 2 teams that can really play. I'm going to get more into it as far as what I think will happen, predictions XYZ, but I wanted to, lay it out, because we are playing that game in Orlando. So it's a little different. That one is going to be on their turf, and they have a pretty ruckus crowd, and it's not going to be a cakewalk, but I think these challenges, I think these tests are going to be great for us in the long run, because adversity builds character, 100%. So I know I talk about this quite a lot, but I just want to reemphasize. Zion loves this team, man. Zion loves this city. Zion loves the organization. And in an era where stars are leaving their teams left and right, you cannot undervalue that in any capacity. You can't. Because it's so easy now today for players to be like, nah, I don't really care about the team, and I'm good. But the fact that he is consistently spoken praise, and even amidst having the media throw shots and throw thorns at him, so positive. So he got asked. He was asked. You know, during kind of like the aftermath of talking about the Australia trip and his goals and expectations of the season, talking about playing with Jordan Poole. He was asked about his relationship with the fans and with the team, and he said, this is this quote: "It's always a privilege to throw on an NBA journey, NBA jersey to be a Pelican. This is home base. No matter what people say, this is home. This is the crib. I'm looking forward to playing in front of these fans again." And what more can you say? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what more do you want? And he's got a lot to prove this year. I will not at all deny or dispute it. But this is a guy who averaged 25, 7, and 5, pushing 6, you know what I mean? In under 30 minutes a game. In a very dysfunctional year, in a very dysfunctional structure. Now things have changed, things have improved. He's in the best shape of his life, and he's got a different mindset going into this season. I have not heard him talk like this since he came into the league. It plays a big role. So obviously, I think President Dumas has definitely been doing a wonderful job of speaking life into him and giving him the kind of wisdom and insight that makes him look within himself and say, okay, I'm reaching a different point as a player. I want to be regarded and remembered different than how I've been currently. I got to step up. I got to evolve. I got to adapt. I got to grow. I got to become a greater version of myself. And I wholeheartedly believe Zion can do it. It was funny. One of my friends in my cohort, he wasn't throwing shots, but he was in a little disbelief. And I was just like, listen, man, I'm not just saying this because I run a channel, but watch some Pelicans games this year. You're going to see a new and improved Zion, a Zion that we have not even, again, ceiling hasn't even been scratched. There's so much to his game that he can grow to and from, and that's the exciting part about it. He's nowhere near a finished product, which is crazy to even say that, right? It's crazy to even say that, but you can tell, and you could tell in this Australia trip that the game is slowing down. The game has slowed so much down for him. He plays at a much steadier pace, and he just looks more confident out there. And I think people fail to realize so much how your confidence and your mindset going into a game, during a game, and after. Oh my God, the mental health aspect as an athlete is one of the most important topics. A little fun fact about me: I almost majored in kinesiology when I was in undergrad. Why? Because the psychology, it's not flipping y'all off, but the psychology as an athlete, it plays a huge and valuable role to how you play, how you prepare, how you decompress, and how you move forth, irregardless of what happens externally. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing that I think that was honed in the most this offseason. Obviously, everyone is going to focus on the body. That's the external. But it's the internal. It's that inner work within yourself. It's that mirror talk. It's that time where you really look within. And I feel like Zion has definitely done some soul searching. And I wouldn't blame him. After everything he has been through so far in his journey, you have to go through you have to look within yourself. You have to have those honest conversations that you don't want to have, but you need to have in order for you to reach your best version. And you can tell. You can tell that Zion has been doing that. He's being pushed to do that, and he is embracing it. And that's the biggest key right there, is embracing that, not running from it. You know what I'm saying? You know, run from it, dread from it. No, you got to embrace it. You got to embrace the storm. You got to embrace those tough. You got to embrace the hardship. You got to embrace the tough times. You got to embrace the adversity. But it's through all that creates the canvas, that creates the beautiful magic, that creates the amazingness. And what we know what Zion is capable of is that same player that he was projected to be and more when he was drafted number 1, when he was seen as the face, not just, face of the team. No, seen as the face, the most hyped prospect in years, within America as well, because the game is so global. It was such a big deal for us to make that preseason trip in Australia and to see the amount of players that were able to clearly have a great experience. It was wonderful. Y'all notice how many Zion jerseys there were in Australia. The reach and the impact cannot be denied. It cannot. And I really wholeheartedly believe that Zion is going to show that player that he was in that playing game. It's been a while since you heard me brought it up, but I'm going to bring it up. Because I love watching those highlights. That is who Zion is. So I know I'm speaking a lot, but this ain't smoke and mirrors. I'm telling you. These preseason games and moving forth are going to be the reactivation, the rebirth, the resurgence. It's there. It's there. And the more he leans into it, the more he fully unleashes, man, it's a wrap. It's a wrap for everybody else. Watch out. Watch out. You know what I'm saying? And I got all the faith in the world in Zion, and I know what he is capable. I know what he is going to do. And I know that he is going to make it happen. Somehow, some way. And that's all we want. We just want to see him out there having fun, having a ball, being in the best of his game. Because that's what brings it puts butts in the seats for one. It puts butts in the seats, but it also is an extension of who he is as a person and who he is as a player. And that's more than anything what you want. You don't want, your guys out there like, man, I ain't really rocking with this right now. I'm not really feeling it. It's just like, no, man. Nah, man, you need to go out there, remind yourself of what it is that got you into this sport and play like that. And I think that's just why a culture shift was so needed, because it was like an aroma, a funk. And you can't play at your game. You can't play at your best if you're mental, if your mind ain't sharp. That's half the battle right there. So, yeah, I know I'm talking, I'm yapping, but it's been a while, so got a lot to catch up on. But finally, my favorite part, responding to y'all. Now, the lucky part, it ain't many comments, so we can knock this out. But I just, had to get right, had to remind y'all of stuff. So let's get right to it. So, let's start with Irv Chili Chill 1. I don't believe I've seen you comment before, but I appreciate you. I would trade Jordan, Missy, and a first for Walker Kessler. He makes our defensive rebounding much better. So I didn't really talk about Eve. I'm intrigued to see what Eve does. Can't leave him out. And y'all know I'm like one of the few who's like, yeah, Jayhawk. But he might be on borrowed time. I don't know. We'll see. I'm hoping not. As for trading for Walker Kessler, I think Walker Kessler is a very talented big. I think he is one of the best young bigs in the league, but we don't know as far as with how that would all work, what we'd have to give up, and if Utah is willing to pull the trigger. I don't also want to give up a first either. We've now, do I think this up and coming draft is the draft to be making trades like that? No, but I also have been on record saying there's not the same caliber of depth. This draft is very top heavy, and that's great if you are gonna suck, and if your goal is to suck. Let's just keep it a buck. That ain't our goal. This ain't the same. This ain't the same. This ain't the same. I was about to say this ain't the same buck, but this ain't the same team. This ain't the same Pelicans. So, yeah. But I hear you, Herb. I do. Sloppy 28, Sloppy Joe. How is Derek Queen? Well, Derek Queen is still recovering. He said he's unsure right now about if he'll be playing in the regular season opener on the 22nd. So we'll see. That's one of those TBA things to be announced. We'll see. I don't want him to rush. I want him to take as long as possible to get as strong as possible. Keyword difference. My God, Herb Chill commented again. Need to do a segment on our X Factor, Sadiq Bey. He's going to be a difference as to whether our bench is average or a strong one. I wanted Bey in the 2020 draft that we took Kira Lewison. Yeah, that was a tough miss. But we got him now, still relatively young and grow with the nucleus of this team. We missed Najee's dog mentality last year. Sadiq embodies this characteristic, and he's a better overall player. He's what made the trade with Washington a winner for us. Go Pels. I'm glad that you're speaking of Sadiq so highly. I have, again, I talk about, my rapport with Chris Lambert, and I talk about, Mr. David Grubb, who pioneered this channel for me. We talked about Sadiq Bey quite a bit, and I think he is an X factor as well. I'm a little biased, same high school class. I mean, me, him, Herb, and who else? I know them two. We're all the same high school class. But Sadiq Bey, I really think is an X factor because, like you mentioned, right? Average or strong in terms of bench. We don't have many veterans. We don't have many guys who are experienced, but that's what Sadiq Bey provides. He also provides shooting ability, defensive ability, length, athleticism, all those things. And I think he can even outdo Najee's impact. No disrespect to Najee, but I think he can outdo Najee's impact. So I'm excited. I'm very excited. My God, David Weimer, 8244, Mr. Ball Knower. I mean, y'all know ball, but David, this cat, he knows something different. I think we will end up with 14-man roster and 3 two-way deals. It will be about flexibility later instead of signing a guy who just won't play. I agree on that. As well. I also think we need any more big man depth. If and when we make a move, I think it'll be for wing depth. For the bench, we have Hawk, PV, and Bay as wings. Our wing depth is very thin, and I would not count on two-way guys as quality depth if we get an injury. Agreed. I would rather us go for a wing personally. Now, if we do go for a big, then a 7-footer, like a clear 7-footer, not a, well, he might be injured. No, a 7-footer, no compromise. But I do agree, and that's why I really did want Amir Coffey, for instance. I thought he would have been a perfect addition. But we'll see. But, the season ain't even started yet. So there's going to be moves that are made. There's going to be guys that are going to get moved around, and we're going to see how it all is set up. So, and then last but never least, Pelicans Nola 4367. It's been a while since I've seen you comment, but great to see you. What's up, family? We looking at you and keep up the good work. Let's go Pelicans. Hey, much love to you as well. Looking at you, looking right back at you. And thank you. I appreciate that. I'm balancing a lot. I'm trying to juggle a lot, but, I do it with a smile. But that's going to be it for this video. This video was long, but it's been a few days, so I decided, all right, let me really break it down. Let's really talk ball. Let's talk life as well. I always try to interweave the two. But appreciate y'all for the love and support. The numbers are growing, you know what I'm saying, slowly but surely, and that's what it's all about. The progression, the journey, the climb. But y'all here with me, y'all on this ride with me, on this journey, and I appreciate that. So appreciate the support. Let's keep it rocking and going. Again, if you got any friends or family who love the Pelicans, love them, tell them to come to this channel. That's what I do it for. I do it for those who love, and even maybe someone who doesn't have a team, but who just loves the game. I do it for the love of the game. I do it for those who love the game as well and respect the game. So, yeah. Shout out to Fan Arch as well. Great company. They've been doing their thing, killing it. And again, appreciate the love and support. But that's gonna be it. That's gonna be all. Enjoy this episode, and I'm gonna see y'all tomorrow doing a little recap about the Rockets game. Woo! Houston, you may have a problem. Because Pelicans basketball is going to come through. Nah, we need something. We need like a fight. You know what I'm saying? We need like a fight thing. But we flying through. We flying through. And we coming to make life a little difficult. Coming to make life a little challenging. You know what I'm saying? This ain't the same team as before. You ain't beating us up like that. Nah. And if you do, it's going to be with honor. I'm going to say that. But I got faith that we can win this game. Nah, I ain't going to say go put money and do your parlay. Nah, I ain't saying all that. But just watch and enjoy some good hoops. So stay tuned for more. I appreciate y'all for the love and support. Y'all have a good one. Enjoy y'all day. And can't wait to talk more about the Pelicans.